Hey guys, and welcome to the Lazy Lemon Creations podcast. My name is Lindsay. You can find me on Instagram as Lazy Lemon Creations, and you can find me on Ravelry as Lazy Lemon. This is my podcast, all about my knitting, crochet, cross stitch, diamond painting, any sort of crafty thing that I happen to get into. So let's get into it. I live in the heart of the New River Valley with my husband and our 2 kids. The kids are at school, my husband's at work, and it is Friday, May 1st of 2026, and I actually had some time today to sit down and do this episode because all week we have been at a ball field and I have not had the energy to do much of anything extra this week except fill my cup. So that's what I've done. But let's get this episode out today, okay? For finished objects, I have one and one only, and it has been a whip for a very long time. It originally was shown on the podcast on one of my episodes, probably like episode 40 something, I don't even remember. I had spun my Felici wheel to decide what Felici colorway I was going to do next. And it landed on the Buddy colorway. And I was excited to cast it on, but for some reason just could not do it. Like it was almost as if it just wasn't the right time to work on Felici socks for whatever reason. But I finally dedicated time to it this past month. And in doing so, I finished the pair. So both socks are here. They're off by a color stripe, as you can see right there at the cuff. One starts in red, one starts in green. But here they are, all done, looking nice. I have a contrast heel, toe, and cuff in the Nomad Snowdrift series. It's their bear yarn. It's a bear. It came in a 50 gram like mini hank, and I caked it up into a ball, which I have one right here. This is what it looks like once you cake it up. It's just bear yarn, basically. A very ivory color. And yeah, that's the Felici socks. So with these socks, these were 62 grams. I intended to cast these on forever ago, but officially casted them on March 27th, and I finished them April 28th. So a month and a day that these socks took me, which is a lot longer than normal, but nobody is tracking how long it takes to knit socks. That's not the point of knitting socks. I do it for the fun of it. Can I knit an entire pair in like 4 days? Yeah, I can, but I don't anymore. I don't put that pressure on myself. I knit when I want to knit, and I crochet when I want to crochet. Sometimes that's for 5 minutes, sometimes that could be for 5 hours. I don't think I've knit for 5 hours straight in a row, but it'd be fun to do one day. But today's not that day. So anyway, those Knit Pick Felici socks were done this month. I was so happy to get those off of the needles because it felt like they lived there for forever. I knit them on a ChiaoGoo red lace 32-inch cable, 1.5 millimeter needle, and that's what I do for my socks. Magic loop all the time. So next, we're jumping into whips because that's about all I have left. So we're going to take these socks and we're going to set them over here behind the camera. Can't see them. Oh no, they're gone. All right, let's jump into the whips that I have been working on. First up, it's the one and only, no, it's not the one and only knit. It is the one and only sock whip that I have that is knitting, and it is in my Mountain State Stitches bag. My favorite fall pumpkins. And this is, surprise, surprise. I mean, you're not surprised if you saw it on Instagram, but surprise to the episode, is another Felici colorway. And this is Bayou. And so I spun the Felici wheel as soon as I finished those Buddy socks, and it gave me this colorway. So I immediately caked it up. I went ahead and cast it on the cuff. and I went ahead and started the pair of socks. And I'm glad I did, because this yarn is very interesting and a joy to work with. So let me untangle it here, because I have so many ends, because I don't weave them in until the end. I don't know why. I don't like weaving them in. But this, I don't know if it's going to focus, is the Bayou colorway. It has a very big black stripe in it. Like, it's the size of 2 color repeats, and then it has blue, teal, and green in it as well. So what I have so far on the sock is I have my 20 row cuff, and then I have my 30 row leg all done, and I have my progress keepers right over here to help me keep progress of how many rows I have done so far. And I have done 30 rows on the actual sock. And as you can see, that giant stripe right there, the big black one, like I said, it's about 2 colors worth. The width is 2 colors worth. There we go. That's a tongue twister. But I am ready to work the heel flap. Just licked my needles. I am ready to work the heel flap on these socks. And again, still using the Bear yarn from Nomad. And yeah, the same Chalgu red lace 1.5 needles magic loop that I'm doing. And those have been getting some work because I am waiting on my May colorway of Freckled Whimsy. My Christmas club should be here. I actually haven't checked on it, so it'll either be here like today or Monday, one of those two, which isn't a problem. I've been enjoying the Felici socks, so I like those. Those have been a whip that I have been giving some love to. My next whip that is also knitting that I have been giving some love to is in my Happy Little Yarn orange project bag. Again, this neon orange is my absolute favorite. If it looks like a traffic cone, I want it, but not a literal traffic cone. But this is my Musselburgh hat. If you've watched the episodes a time or two, you have seen this hat before. It is the blue, I'm calling it my DK weight, but I don't even know if it's actually DK weight or not. But this is the blue hat. This is my progress keeper where I was last time, my little owl from Twin Mountain Handcrafts. And that is how much I have gotten done since you've last seen it. Getting some really good work on this. I probably should measure and find out how much more I need to do before starting the decreases. But we're going to go ahead and move our progress keeper up and get him connected into 2 new stitches so that next time I can show you how far we make it with him. So again, this is my travel knitting. This is what I take school pickup and drop off. And again, as I said previously, we have been spending so much time at the ball field. So this is also getting a little bit of love in the evenings while, excuse me. This has been getting love in the evenings while my kids are playing sports, if I am not helping coach one way or another. So the yarn that I am using for this hat is the Baby Bee Sweet Delights in the Baby's Blue colorway. And this is 115 grams for 4 ounces. It's a 60% acrylic, 40% polymade. There is the ounces, grams, meters, and yards. You can do the math if you want to and tell me if it's a DK weight. I'm assuming so. I don't know. It's not fingering and it's not worsted. So Aaron or DK weight, I'm thinking DK weight, so we'll go with that. But that's been living in this project bag and been living with me in the car and getting a lot of love because I love it. And it's easy to take. Very vanilla. That is the Muscle Bar hat by Isolde Teague, which will be linked down below, along with any other patterns and yarn that I talk about that has a linkable link, will be linkable down below. That was a tongue twister, and I did it to myself. Okay, the next two projects are crochet. So let's take a look at what else I've been making. Not much of anything, to be honest. So the next one here, again, if you've watched before, you may have seen it. I cannot find the progress keeper. Yes, I can. Okay. The progress keeper on this blanket is way down here. Well, not way down here. I shouldn't say that. It is down there, and I have done 5 rows since that progress keeper. Where is it? There it is. My heavens. Okay, you might not be able to see it because it's the granny square blanket. Since we're moving it anyway, let's just take the progress keeper off the blanket. There we go. So this little tiny charm, we're going to use some yarn so that you can see it. It's a heart. Don't look at me, look at the progress keeper. See, there we go. It's a little tiny heart. It's an acrylic one made by Twin Mountain Handcrafts. I love their progress keepers, my favorite. So we are going to move it to closer to where I have been working on it. And this is just a giant granny square. It is this minty green. I think we actually decided that it was like a turquoise color, aquamarine, and it's this beautiful minty green, blue, and black blanket. Just the 2 colors, just back and forth, granny square, simple, easy. The yarn is the Anti-Pill acrylic by Mainstays. Walmart, shout out. Not sponsored. Very cheap, but quality, it's there. If you want an acrylic yarn that is soft and easy to work with, doesn't leave fuzzies behind, and it doesn't feel like you're working with rubber, this is the yarn to use for sure. Budget friendly, fabric friendly, like it's a good deal for sure. But yes, this is the blanket that I have been working on. It has been sitting over beside my recliner. Again, the ends are not woven in. You'll always hear me say that. Until a project is done, okay? Until a project is done, the ends are not woven in. But yeah, that crochet project that I am working on, I am using a 5mm crochet hook. Brand doesn't really matter to me. I think with that one I have been using my Susan Bates hook because my Clover Amour hook that I am using is currently with this blanket. And this is another granny square. Can you tell what my favorite type of blanket stitch is? It is a double crochet in a cluster of 3, either a granny square or corner to corner. If it is a double crochet cluster of 3 type blanket, it is for me, for sure. But this blanket, I don't think this has a progress keeper on it, so we can get one and add it to this blanket. But as you can see, this yarn is doing a very slow fade because it's supposed to. It is the Karen Cloud Cake in the Perfect Phasing Royal color. It is blue, but hold on. Okay, so I went and got all of my Twin Mountain Handcraft charms, and I was going to do a clear one, but they are so hard to see, so I'm going to do an orange one. Orange and blue, they just go together. They're like best color friends. I don't know. I don't even think that's a real thing. But anyway, we are going to do a little tiny heart from Twin Mountain Handcrafts. I've got a whole keychain of them. Can you see that? There we go. See, it's just a little tiny heart on orange acrylic this time. Little charm for my blanket that I've been working on. And again, I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. I don't have the Clover one beside me, but I do have my Susan Bates one beside me. And it's not gonna focus, I can almost guarantee it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Woohoo! Crochet hook. But yeah, just what I have been dabbling in with my projects here. And then the last whip you guys have not seen because I started it last night. It is for someone at our church who is having a baby, and they are using the color gray in the name for the baby. They are not finding out the gender of the baby until it is born, which I think is a really cool thing to do. I have a daughter and a son, and if we would have had a third child, I would have done that. I would have waited until the birth of the baby to find out the gender. The planner in me doesn't like that idea, but the spontaneous side of me loves that idea. So the fact that somebody I know is doing that is just awesome for me. They have 2 little girls already. They have a violet and they have a scarlet. And so they are incorporating the color gray into this next baby. So this blanket is mostly gray. But if they have a girl, they are naming her Ivory Gray. And if they have a boy, they're naming him Grayson Isaac. So either way, his name is going to have its name. I shouldn't say he. I think it's a boy, but I don't know. The baby's name is going to have gray incorporated in it. And so I just dropped it. I am working up another granny square. A granny square blanket for this baby. And this is the Big Scoop ice cream in the colorway Cookies and Cream. But it's just black and white. Just a very good, well, it's actually not even black. Very gray. There we go. Yeah. Even the darkest of gray isn't a black. It's just a really dark gray. But this Cookies and Cream by the Lion brand Big Scoop ice cream is what I am making this blanket with. I am crocheting it using a 4mm clover hook. The 5mm hook just made it way too gappy, which a granny square naturally has the gaps between the stitches, but I needed to size down to a 4 in order to get the gauge that I like for this yarn. So that's what I'm doing. And I am so happy to be making this, like I said, for a lady at church. And I'm happy for her and excited because that's what I would have done. Had I had a third child, I would have waited to find out the gender at the birth of that child. And it just makes me so happy that they're getting to do that. So anyway, this blanket is for baby gray, whether that is baby girl or baby boy. Baby gray is coming along, and that is what I have in store. That baby is due in like November, so we have some time. We have some time before that blanket needs to be ready. So that's it. That's it for my whips. That's it for my 1FO that I showed you however many minutes ago. That will now bring us into our April stats. So for the month of April, I have actually finished, hold on, I have the notebook right here. I finished 4 projects in the month of April. I finished the elephant blanket, the blue hat that went with the elephant blanket, and 2 pairs of socks. My Freckled Whimsy socks and my Felici socks. With that, I had 718 grams go out of my stash for the month of April. Right? Yes, because it's May now. So that makes me very happy because the only yarn that came into the stash was 125 grams, which was my Freckled Whimsy subscription. So that makes me very happy for those stats for April. May is going to be a lot less just because we're going to always be out and about at a ball field. So May stats are going to be a lot less, but it's still fun to keep track of it and see how my yarn intake and output changes each and every month. So yeah, hopefully this summer there will be some exciting things that we can all partake in to help with our grams out, preferably with socks, maybe some knit-alongs that happen during the summer. Different ones from different people host different things all the time. So if there's any of those out there, you can comment them down below, because I would love to be a part of something to get more grams out this summer. But now we're getting into life and reading and watching. So life is that softball and t-ball have been keeping us so busy. The kids love playing the sports. Makes me very happy to be out there with them on the field, letting them have fun. But boy, is it draining. It takes out so much of their energy and of my energy, and it is draining on a physical aspect, but it's so fulfilling on a mental and spiritual aspect of just, it truly gives us something to look forward to. So we love our ball. We are happy to be enjoying that during the entire month of May. Our whole month is basically filled with somebody having a game somewhere on one field or another. Some days, both of them have a game. We're going to have to divide and conquer. That I'm not looking forward to, because I really didn't want to miss either one of their games. But it's just how you have to do it if you have more than one kid in a sport and it happens to coincide with another at the same time. But that is life, and it is okay. It is okay. And then Emrys has a lumbar puncture coming up on Tuesday. So next week will probably be another Friday episode. But he has a lumbar puncture on Tuesday. We should get his end of treatment date. Then we have done the math ourselves in our head, and we predict his end of treatment to be the end of November. But things can change at the drop of a hat, and so we want to double check with our team. And like I said, we should get that date on Tuesday, but that will be a very early morning filled with travel and procedures and just a day filled with being at the hospital. But that is the life that we are living currently, but hopefully not much longer. And then, oh yes, for my daughter's team, because she wanted me to get my nails done in her team colors. So I have blue and pink nails for the Cotton Candy Hurricanes. I am not a pink person, so I got the accent nail as pink, but the majority of them blue, because I'm not a pink girly. I will work with pink yarn. That's fine. And my daughter is more than a pink girly, so she makes up for it for both of us on that aspect. So you can give me all the bright colors you want to, and pink does fall within that, but it is just very, very pink. I'm just not a fan. It's okay though. It's all right. And then for reading and watching, I haven't been watching anything but podcasts. Lisa of 72 Stitches, Amie of Happy Little Yarn, Kayla of The Crazy Sock Lady, Needles at the Ready, Kevin and Ray, Kelsey of Passionate Kelsey, yeah, just Crochet by Chris. I've just been watching podcasts because in my free time, instead of watching TV, I've been reading. I finished Queen of Shadows on my Kindle, loved it, fantastic book, and now I am starting the tandem read of Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn for Throne of Glass. And there is a way you can do it on your Kindle. It's just using the bookmark feature that your Kindle has, and if you understand how it works, it's very easy to jump between different books. But I have the little sheet folded up in my Kindle. It has a little pocket on the stand. That is what I have been reading, and it has been so enjoyable. And this year for readers is just jam-packed with new releases of everything coming out. Sarah Parker is releasing her book next week. Then we have I'm not really even sure about what's happening over the summer, but then we get into the fall with Burn of the Everflame happening in September. And then in October, we have ACOTAR. And then I think also either September, October, November, one of those 3 months, I don't know. The Fourth Wing author Rebecca Yarros is releasing an Empyrean novel, but it is not book 4. She's made that very clear. It's not book 4. I think it's the survival guide that her brother wrote for her sister, but that's just my theory. But anyway, yeah, so reading is jam-packed for everything, and I am excited to be back enjoying my books. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up for me. I hope that you guys have a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all next week. Happy May. Bye.